But first, talking about stupid, costly ideas, let's see how the coalition signing up to net zero is going. Well, after adopting the harebrained policy in 2021, the coalition has managed to lose 2 elections in devastating fashion. And things are only going from bad to worse, with smaller Liberal Sussan Ley as leader. What a shock that Malcolm Turnbull in a skirt is not resonating with the electorate. Sussan Ley has managed to lead the coalition to its worst Newspoll result in 40 years. Yes, the coalition's primary vote is sitting at 29%, the lowest since Newspoll began comparing vote levels in primary vote levels back in 1985. Perhaps it would help if we got some policies from Ley rather than motherhood statements about aspiration and respect. In the 2 months she's been leader, we've seen no shift away from the Labor-light policies of net zero and big migration. We've had plenty of chatter about things like gender quotas. That's what your average centre-right voter really wants to hear about. Ley's fond of saying, our policies are up for review, but our values are not. It's another mealy-mouthed nonsense statement. A political party's policies are its values. Here are some home truths. You cannot be about small government and lower taxes if you're backing an ever-expanding public service. You cannot be about prioritising the cheapest and most reliable forms of energy if you back the renewables grift and the market manipulation that characterises that sector. You cannot be for meritocracy and then back DEI policies, including gender quotas. You cannot be for free speech, but then support the activism of the E-Safety Commissioner. And you cannot call yourself an opposition when you barely oppose. Serving as a Labor-light alternative, nobody wants. At a time when cost of living is the #1 issue, the coalition has consistently failed to hold Labor accountable or to offer an alternative to the big spending, big taxing, big bureaucracy that has seen Australian households suffer the worst decline in living standards since the 1950s. It's clear voters are not interested in the Labor-light option. And the coalition's biggest donors have had enough too. The party is on notice. Stand for something or stay irrelevant. Billionaire Robert Milner and stockbroker Angus Aitken are among business leaders who have spoken publicly about not giving another cent to the Libs until they dump their Labor-light policies. Aitken, who donated $250,000 to the Libs this year alone, said this after the election. He said, "I have zero interest in donating further to the Libs. They need a wholesale clear out and to work out what they want to stand for instead of these Me Too style quasi-Labor policies. To not do well against those poor outcomes Labor has generated is astounding, but the lack of policies from the Liberal Party was completely hopeless." Hopeless being the key word there. The problem is Sussan Ley lacks both the ideological conviction and the political acumen to formulate strong centre-right policies that give Australians a clear choice. The fact that the Libs and indeed the coalition have still not abandoned net zero tells you everything you need to know about the dire state of politics in this country.